able to find fossils of other animals, mammals that are now extinct that used to live in the Philippines. There used to be a rhinoceros that lived here in the Philippines. You can look for that in the Life Gallery behind the old humans, the ancient humans. So behind that, there's a cave where you can find some bones of not dinosaurs but old mammals that used to live on Earth. Right? A lot younger than the dinosaurs, but of course they're now extinct. Still lived hundreds and thousands of years ago in the past. Alright, enough talk about fossils and dinosaurs. Let's talk about our experiments this morning. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Mario.
You look like from Super Mario.
I do? Does Super Mario look like Chinese? Because a lot of people say I look Chinese. But I think Super Mario is Italian, right?
Yeah.
He's a mini Mario, right? It's an Italian. He's an Italian plumber. But I'm not Italian. Yeah, my name is Mario. I'm a resident scientist here at the Mind Museum. We call ourselves the Mind Movers. And we do these experiments here in our Atom Gallery. We call this Mind Moving Studios, where we talk about a topic and we do experiments to help explain that topic. This morning, I need a pen. Let me just get a pen. This morning, we will talk about
Earth science.
Earth. Unfortunately not. Well, it's part of Earth. It's part of what's happening on Earth. What we'll talk about? We'll talk about heat.
Oh yeah! I do talk about fire and heat.
Yeah, fire is hot, right? We'll talk about
Heat is also
heat.
hot.
Because every year we are recording record number of heat temperatures on Earth, right? Because unfortunately, because of the climate crisis that we are experiencing. The world is getting hotter, warmer and warmer and warmer. We'll talk about one way how Earth transfers the heat. We'll talk about
Actually,
heat
the sun is
transfer.
the water.
Right? Because heat is transferred from one object to the next, right? From one place to another. Cold is not a real thing. Right? Cold is not real. Cold is just the absence of heat. Right? It's just the absence of heat. You know that a giant iceberg has more heat, contains more heat than phosphoro. If you light up a matchstick, right? A matchstick, the fire there, it has less heat than a giant iceberg.
Yes,
Right?
real.
An iceberg would have more heat. Even if you touch it and it's cold, right? An iceberg will be very, very cold. But it contains more heat than a matchstick, than an actual flame, fire. Right? So that's the concept of heat that sometimes not a lot of people understand, right? That heat is transferred from one place or one object to another, right? And the amount of heat, because heat is energy, the amount of heat in the universe never changes, right? The amount of energy in the whole entire universe never changes. That's why they say you cannot create nor destroy energy, right? You only transform it from one form to another. And heat is a form of energy, right? So the
Looks
amount
like
of heat
fire, right?
since the beginning of the universe, right, is the same amount of heat as now. Okay, with that, let's talk about one particular way heat is transferred. When you cook your food, you have a big pot, you bring it to a boil, you're cooking sinigang, for example.
Actually, a fire makes heat.
There's fire, right? There's fire that it's transferring heat to a metal pot, right? And then you have a sandok, you have a ladle that you use to mix the thing that's made of metal. If you leave it there in the pot after 10 minutes, what will happen to the handle of the pot?
It will burn up.
It will also be hot, right? Heat will be transferred to that ladle that you're using to mix. Right? Iinit din yung handle of whatever it is you're using. Right? Unless, of course, it's wood, and then it's not so much. Right? But if it's metal, heat will be transferred there. But heat is also transferred among liquids and gases. Right? That's why the wind can be hot. Right? That's why water can turn hot. Right? It also transfers heat. And this type of heat transfer is known as convection. Right? I'm going to write that down. It's called convection. And when convection happens, something warm, a warm liquid and a warm gas, rises, goes up, right? This is warm or hot. And something that is colder or cooler, a cooler liquid or cooler gas, will sink to the bottom. This is cool or cold. And this is the reason why you put your air condition, your aircon, sa mataas na lugar. Right? You put an aircon high and not low, close to the ground. Right? Because when it blasts air, that cold air will sink to the bottom. Right? And it's better at warming or cooling the rooms you're in. Because if you put it somewhere low, the air will stay low. It's not gonna rise up. Right? It's not gonna rise up. So malamig lang yung paa mo. Your legs are cold, but not the top part of your body. And this is also the reason why a refrigerator will have the freezer on top. Right? Because the freezer will produce more cold air, and that cold air will go down. So the cooling of the refrigerator will be much more efficient. Right? Imagine if you put your freezer at the bottom, although some ref, they do that, right? If you put the freezer at the bottom, it will take so much more energy to cool the upper part of your refrigerator, right? Your ref, right? So to sort of demonstrate how heat is transferred on air, right? Again, sabi natin, warmer or hotter air goes up. Let's do this experiment. I have here this
I
iron
do have to
stand.
deal with fire and warm and hot.
Well, yeah, here's the fire. I'm gonna light up a fire. Yeah, here's a flame. Again, this is an alcohol lamp. We have a fire there being powered by alcohol. And this is just a simple piece of paper we cut into a spiral. Right? And if this convection rule is true, the air that is surrounding the flame is getting warmer, right? Because the fire is hot. And so that air is rising. And if I put this on here, right below our spiral piece of paper, right? Because the warm air is rising, it's going to blow up like this. It's going to go up, and it's going to hopefully make our piece of paper go around. Let's try it. But hopefully I don't burn this. There's only a piece there that's burned off. Hopefully I don't burn the piece of paper. Ooh, there you go. Right? It's spiraling. Let's do that one more time. It's going around, right? Did you see that difference? Right? It's moving now a little bit because maybe there's a breeze, maybe because I'm talking and my breath is making it move. Right? But if I put this under it, it's gonna turn a lot faster. I'm taking it out quickly because I don't want to burn the piece of paper. Oh, mataas na siya. Let's do that one more time. Oh, mataas na siya. Okay. And so umiikot siya, right? It's going around in a spiral, and that is because the warm air being warmed by the flame here rises, right? And it's making the spiral or the piece of paper go around, right? So warm air goes up, colder air goes down. And that is the reason why clouds form in the sky, right? Because when you have all the oceans and seas on the surface of the earth, when it's get warmed up by the sun, right? The sun warms up the water, right? Some of that water will evaporate. It will turn into gas, right? Similar to how when you boil water in the morning, if you make coffee or something, right, or tea, right? You boil water, it will evaporate, right? So water on the surface of the earth, like on the seas and lakes, it also evaporates, right? Because of the heat from the sun. Because it evaporates, because it's warm air, it goes up to the sky, right? Because it's warm, it rises, right? Goes up to the sky, and up there, it's colder. Mas malamig sa taas, di ba? Mas malamig sa taas, up in the atmosphere, versus here on the ground. And because of that, the warm air that evaporated will condense. Letter C will turn back to liquid water, and that produces clouds. Nizar here, one of our intern, we have from Nizar, is going to pump air maybe twice, not 2 times, one more. As we pump air inside, we build up pressure inside. Tumataas yung pressure sa loob because we're packing a lot of stuff. We're putting in a lot of air and we're trapping it inside the bottle, right? If I squeeze the bottle, see I can barely squeeze it. If you put 2 more pumps, 1, 2, see? Hindi na. I can no longer squeeze it. And because there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of pressure, what happens to the temperature? Ano kayang temperature sa loob? Mainit or mas malamig? Not very hot maybe, but hot, right? Warm. It's getting warmer inside the bottle, right? It's getting warmer inside. So some of the alcohol, this is actually just alcohol. The same alcohol that you use to disinfect surfaces and disinfect your hands. Some of that alcohol will evaporate, turn into gas, right? And if I take out the stopper, the temperature will go down. It will become cooler, colder inside. And that alcohol will condense. I'm letting go in 3, 2, 1. Right? Now we have formed a cloud inside the bottle. It's a cloud, similar to the clouds in the sky. Right? Because the alcohol that evaporated turned to gas. When the temperature went down, it all condensed back to liquid droplets of water. And what we're seeing, what clouds are tiny droplets of liquid, right? This is of course not similar to the clouds in the sky because this is alcohol. But clouds in the sky are tiny droplets of liquid water. So when people ask you what clouds are made of, they're not made of gas, right? They're made of tiny droplets of liquid water, right? So what we're seeing are droplets, tiny droplets of liquid alcohol that has to be. And just to prove to you that that can also again evaporate, we're going to put 2 pumps and see how the cloud disappears. One more. The cloud disappears because your droplets of alcohol evaporated again. If you take it out, you can form a cloud again. Right? Over and over. It's a cycle of water that happens on Earth. Right? It's the water cycle that forms clouds, forms rain, and that's why we have water on Earth. Thank you, Nizar. Now, lastly, this convection, this transfer of heat does not only happen among liquids, also happens among gas, rather, but transfers also happens, this convection also happens among liquids, not only gases, but also liquids. So this heat transfer that happens in liquids happens in our seas, in our oceans. That's why there are ocean currents. There's movement of water under the sea because warm water rises to the surface and colder water goes down below the surface, right? And so, to demonstrate that, I have here several bottles of water, several glasses that we're going to fill up with water. So this is water fresh off the boil. I am just pulling it a little bit so I don't hurt myself. We're gonna pour this water on 2 glasses up to the very top. Okay. So this is warm or hot water, right? And then these other 2, I'm going to fill up with water from the faucet, from the tap. Now, which water is colder? This one or this one?
That one.
Ano yung mas malamig na tubig? Ito, right? This is a lot colder than this one because this one you saw, we boiled it, right? That's cold water. And this is also cold water, right? Hot water, cold water, hot water, cold water. And just so we know, we can see it, I'm going to put food coloring, 1 drop, Then 2. This is yellow. Yellow is hot. Yellow is hot water. And then green will be our cold water. And then I'm going to stir it. I'm just going to use my finger. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put one on top of the other. One glass on top of the other. So yellow on top of green. And another one, green on top of yellow. We're going to see what's the difference. Okay? Because sabi natin, we said that cold water sinks, warm water rises. Right? Unahin natin yung warm water nasa ibabaw na. We'll put the warm water on top. I-move muna natin ito to the side. Warm water on top. Let's see what will happen. Do it carefully. What happened to the water? Wala, right? It stayed in place. Because the hot water is already on top, the cold water is already at the bottom. There's no convection. There's no transfer of heat that is happening. Now let's do the opposite. Let's put the cold water on top of the warm water. So what do we expect to happen?
The yellow.
What's our hypothesis? The colors will mix. That's a good guess. It's a good hypothesis to have. Did you see it? Did the colors mix? Yes. Right, the colors mix because the two types of water change position. Right? The cold water on top sinks to the bottom because it's heavier, because it's colder. And the warm water below, because it's lighter, rises on top. And this happens because heat is just movement of molecules. Right? The more movement, the faster molecules move. Water, of course, is made of a molecule, H2O, right? Have you heard of H2O before? H2O is water. It's a molecule of water, right? Heat is just energy. And if you give energy to molecules, they just move faster. Right? And the faster they move, the lighter they get. Right? 1 liter of hot water is lighter than 1 liter of cold water. Because of that movement, because of that energy. And that is why they switch places. Right? And that is what happens under the sea. That's why we have sea currents. That's why there's movement of water, even in lakes, even in seas. Na basically, there's no movement like a river, right? There's still heat transfer. That's one way heat is transferred on Earth. Right? Another one is among solids. It's a different kind of heat transfer. This is convection. Thank you all so much for watching our show. I hope you learned something and enjoyed our show. As you saw all of these things, and especially this one, you can do this at home. Just don't hurt yourself with the hot water. Maybe not hot water. Maybe use tap water as your hot, and then ice water. Right? Just put ice. Because it doesn't have to be boiling water, right? You just have to be different in temperature. So pwedeng ice water and tap water yung gamitin nyo. You still get the same result. Right? Thank you so much. If you have a question, please feel free to ask a question. Thank you for sticking around. If done, I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here at the Mind Museum. Enjoy your stay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.